Pull up a chair by the fire. This is Story Night on the Manlihood Mancast.
So when my oldest kids were about 14, and then my youngest kid was under 10 or right around 10, we decided we were going to go on a vacation to New York City. And we didn't have much money, so we decided we were going to do this as cheaply and as affordably as possible. And someone had given us passes to ride the hop-on, hop-off tour bus, and we camped off of Fire Island, which is kind of like a barrier island on the bottom end of Long Island. Apparently it's a big party spot. We didn't know that. We were really fortunate to show up on kind of a quiet weekend, but it was right on the beach. We camped right on the other side of the dunes, and then we were able to cross the dunes onto the beach in the morning. It was beautiful. And then what we did is we had this giant 1991 Ford Econoline conversion van. It didn't really have many amenities. I think we strapped a couple of cheap DVD players for the kids to watch TV, and we took off. So my wife and I slept in the van, the kids slept in the tent, and then we drove across the Verrazano Bridge and then parked there on Staten Island and rode the ferry into Manhattan. And the kids loved it. There's so much exciting things to see in New York City, especially for a family. And so we went in, and like I said, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so we were trying to do things as affordably as possible. And we ate our breakfast, and we packed a lunch, so we had a picnic lunch, and then we were going to get dinner. So we got we got on the tour bus. We went to Times Square. We went inside the toy stores at Times Square, which is a really cool experience. You can see the giant keyboard that Tom Hanks danced on in the movie Big, and we saw giant Lego sculptures, and we just really had an amazing time seeing all the buildings, and took a tour of the city and saw all there's so much to see. And we're country folk, so this was really exciting for us. And just about the time we get at the end of the tour bus, we ask the guy, hey, where can we find a place to eat? And he's like, oh, there's a Subway and a McDonald's. And no, we want to eat like New York food. And so he says there's a few little restaurants right up around this corner. Definitely should go check it out. So we walk in, and we obviously look like a bunch of tourists. Loud kids with bright clothes, and the dad with a camera strapped around his neck and a floppy sun hat. And we walk in, and the place was called Giorgio's Pizza. We walk in, and he can tell right off the bat that we're not from here, and he's just like, hey, we'll give you a deal. And he gives us a special deal. Basically gives us all of our drinks for free. He gives us a good deal on the pizza. And maybe it was the fact that we had walked for miles. I mean, even though we had the tour bus, we did a lot of walking because we explored Central Park and all of the things that we could see. We did as much. We probably walked 15 miles that day. So we were just wiped out, and we were hungry. And maybe that's why the pizza tasted so amazing, but it was probably the best pizza we'd ever eaten in our entire lives. And the kids just gobbled it down, and we were so in love with it. And the restaurant manager was super kind and super nice, and it was really a cool experience. And so we left, and then we went back and camped that night and came back in the city the next day, kind of did the same thing but saw some different sights. And it came time for dinner again. And we were in the same part of town, and we're thinking, where do we want to go? Do we want to go to Chinatown? Do we want to try something different? And we all just kind of looked at each other, and we said, let's go back to Giorgio's. Of all the restaurants, hundreds of places we could have gone to eat, that place was so good that we decided to go back a second time. But we got things other than pizza the second time and definitely enjoyed it. I don't even know if it's still there. I mean, it's a big enough town. There's probably a million places named Giorgio's, but that was definitely a cool experience. So as we were leaving, we got in a traffic jam, and the car tire, or the wheel, was overheating because just all the brake pressure on it. It was not good. And so we pulled over in New Jersey to try to see if we could see what was going on because the brakes were locking up. And, I'm not a big car guy. My brain doesn't work mechanically very well, so I'm not super mechanically inclined. And I pull in and I get out of the car trying to check it out, and I'm kind of half hanging into the street because there's people at this gas station in service center, and I was going to ask them for help. And as I'm looking, I realized we're in a really sketchy neighborhood, and this does not look right. They're all giving me dirty looks in this van, and I'm trying to check out the car to see what's going on. And as I look up, I realize right directly in front of me there's a drug deal going on. The guy walks up with a brown paper sack. The guy looks in the sack, he checks it out, and hands him a wad of cash, and he's counting it, and he puts it in his pocket. And I'm like, I just witnessed a drug deal, and I'm standing here in my floppy hat and flip-flops, and my car is like all messed up. It can still drive, it just that the wheel is smoking. I get in the car and I'm trying to get out of there, and then there's another car trying to pull in the parking lot, and they're like, I'm driving here, and I'm like, I'm trying to get out of here. And I get out, and we get on the road, and I'm like, I realized that as cool as New York City is, New Jersey is not fun. Sorry, listen, if you're from New Jersey, that is like that is the armpit of America. I don't want to go to New Jersey again. But it was definitely a fun and amazing experience. The kids made memories that they will never forget. And I'm going to say we probably only spent just a couple $100 on the whole trip. Really. I mean, we were able to do it so cheap. Maybe $400 maximum. And really, what I think that the moral of this story is, you've got to take those times to do something simple, to make some memories and have adventures with your family, because when it's all said and done, they're not going to remember playing Xbox or watching TV. They're going to remember the fun things that you did together, the adventures that you had. So definitely take some time to enjoy your family and do things that are worth remembering. Love you guys. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Manlihood Mancast. Please help us out with a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check us out at manlihood.com.